Here in Office 531, I was, kind of at my meditation, and I had a call, I would say. I'm not in the mood to have this case, but I will do the support if it's necessary, if it's helpful, if you need. It's about the Unisys. The Unisys was trying to understand the company, and I could observe some aspects that maybe we can consider. On present time, we have a situation which turns into something that was not planned but became a strategy of security and defense, which is a systematic aggression against one specific subject inside the research in a critical area. This critical area had a lot of problem with misusage of the public budget, considering the corruption as top-down distribution, fields of attraction by contracts, those contracts in general with overprice. This contract can be a contract as transference by period, as a salary, as a social security benefit, and you consider that a small level as increasement with a large number of players kind of allowed you to have a big advantage. This scheme in Brazil was 1 unit as monetary value in each million user of specific system. It means that we have the data as discrete by variables, conglomerate as something compiled huge 1 million each transference, 2 cycles a day, 2 millions per day. It's the idea of this system. We used to have on our public administration the Microsoft. I think that was the Windows as a system as portfolio. Then we changed for an open code, and we had the customized system of information at the public area, considering all public department storage at least 3 types of mainframes, which are the SIFI, which is basically for financial records. We have the SIOP, I think, that is for operations and operative levels of information and records. For sure, we have problem here by the estimative. In general, this area is used for segmentation as facility to have the approach with cooperative area, considering themselves as drivers of this scenario maybe. And we have the SIDOR, which is the budget data and records. For sure, if you have this integrated as a system according to the Article 74 with evidences proven by the insertion made by variables, which means the specific hands and decision, top-down corruption scam, signatures on it, logins, the integrated failure in each one of those systems will be presented. The failure in each one of those systems will be presented as an integrated failure. The continuity of scheme by interest for sure is a listed advantage. Its name is generally corruption. You will keep players and variables inside those systems by this quality, which is something very negative. And you reduce your capacity to solve problems and having the lower level as density, to present your arguments, your reasons, and even follow simple elements of the law and the Constitution. If you are inside the Security Forum, Brazil, USA, for instance, you must observe 2 fields of conversion, attraction at both, which is the stability. And this is something relevant in all areas. As something positive and in something negative, you have the corruption, which is always a corruption. the premise of the accusation, for sure. You have the sequential pattern as incremental thing, which is the criminal association by fields named as integrated systems or facility contracts in an analogical way. This gives you the perception as transnational organized crime with records that can't be, placed at a regular space to fill the information at your system, and this will be transferred as something compiled as a big bubble or a big corrosive element at your mainframe, and you will have the need maybe as complementary relation by the swap pattern as information, which is the interconnection inside the system with hidden levels, as you could observe, for instance, if you have a duplicity or a multiplicity of windows. As a microperception will use segments of your hard disk to have this, and in each one of those small segments you will have collection of information and data, and this is not part of the reality but will be presented as a reality in a very specific moment according with the interest that you have. You can put a system down, but this was one of the reasons maybe to have an investigation and a lot of problems related with the Unisys. It's named the Operation Third Wind, and we had a perception at this case which is something like this. The Unisys was, you know, had on present time the CEO, Mr. Peter Altabif, which is a lawyer and a businessman. It's very recommended to have a lawyer if your company is full of problems. This company wasn't created or having a foundation or something like this, but was formed by a fusion on 86. On 86 we had a problem on IBM, which was the deep blue, and at that time was a dark blue with a big fail, and looks like that you had dripped information from inside, considering problems inside the company. This fusion was, as Unisys, was formed by two mainframes, and this company, as Unisys, has the legacy as mainframe that allowed you to have the reading as legacy at your system. Looks like that on present time the company has 86% as services, with yield and financial gains increased, but considering that this company is reported with a lot of problems. The mainframe legacy allowed this new system to have the reading of the system at the past, which was the Sperry and Burrow, something like this. It's a curious thing because if, let's suppose, you have a division on my hard disk and I use the Windows, you have segments inside. If you have a new system with the legacy as mainframe or pattern of reading, you can read the divided segments or periods inside your information, and it means that you have the clusterization of information forming the big data with small levels of segmented or partiture, I would say, inside your system of information as big data, and you have something new with this kind of legacy reading. You can have this for each one of those systems, and it will be integrated that new system as a compiled data and there will be a data with integrity in the near future projected, but on present time in the near past is something clandestine. It's a fraud. I think that is the same idea but in an operational way, in a very operative, I would say, as the migration of modified data in each Kubernetes or small unit of information that you have in your company. If you have, for instance, inside the IBM you are using the IBM portfolio, and you do a business or show with the small units as cognitive level as smart, considering the insertion by the DB2 to have the basic notion about the information, and you have values that are outlined to transfer this by the migration of modified data, expose them as something real. Will be a separated area inside your system of information as cloud on present time, and this segment or part 2 will be integrated as big data in the near future, considering the capacity of this system, which will be the storage at the near system with the levels able to have this as reading and an overview of each one of those segmented argument, and will work this information, which is a clandestine information on present time based on listed advantage at the past, projected at the future as something that you consider a big advantage. Of course, that may be under oversight, but I will not have this case. So, this company had 86% accepts, and looks like that having the approach by Windows and Linux, and we are having problems that the Microsoft maybe will must consider have any kind of report with them. This company named Unisys was reported charged at 97 by the Hackwell Shuttle Operations company, and was a charge about 5.2 billion. The company was created or had the result as at the moment before as 4.8 billion. We have kind of relation here, which is the money used to have the fusion or form this company, and the money after the charge, which looks like that was a petition made by a lady named Sylvia Robbins, which is an engineer, and this petition, there's a lot of things, in the end, the case is about inflation and expenditure, two things that you can use at your contracts. You are having this speech on present time America, you know. It looks like that is the economical circle of DC. Stay on Chicago because the FBI is there. It's more secure. So, inflation plus expenditure as simulation give me the idea of pricing adjustment by facility, which is an acronym. This idea indeed is something that we have in Brazil. It's named the overpriced contract. We had this as Social Security, as we had at the very beginning of this presentation. It can happen by small units at your Social Security, at the food that you have in prison. You have one extra monetary unit in each one of meal that you must offer to your prisoners, and you have 1 million. You have three, periods to have the food. You have 3 millions per day. It's the idea. The same idea of these particles inside the systems around the globe, clandestine level, previous illicit advantage, clandestine on present time, evidence detected, proven, projected that the future has a big expectation, even that you have the 5G. Is this correct? And then this is the idea of the operation third win, a review. This operation was heading to logistics, social security, and contracts that when you have the integration of different areas, a different purpose, before you have the coalition, you have the facility, to have this approach. But it's not necessarily an engagement, because the interface can be part of the game for good purpose. And we can suggest, for instance, this Unisys that looks like it's acting very inside the Brazil, and in all areas that Brazil have problem, can make or offer a huge agreement or bargain, considering this case Operation Third Win America, and the present time accusation that we have preventive control 2021-2028 as part of the regressive control kind of concurrent events against a illicit advantage on budget which points to corruption as premise of accusation, detected evidence and proved as kickoff as privacy violation against my research. Any question? It's all you, Unisys. Do you want to have an agreement? America Justice suggested, recommended as audit the Antitrust Justice America, oversight by the FBI, having the collective information to control or have the measurement of the economical plan on present time to avoid the destruction of America as a risk. And you must consider that if the IBM is an American company, the AT&T is an American company, they carry on American values, and the first one is respect your American Constitution. If you do not get along with this, you must found any other, ask your resignation, drop out and found any area to apply your labor force, your workforce according with beliefs that you share. Because the partners inside the company, if got conglomerated and in the near future has a big give in 2028, you can destroy the culture of America as we had in Brazil when you change the pattern of our fans, go to the stadium, the pace of the game and all things, and the sports on present time is just another argument inside this accusation, which in many moments points to cultural destruction. Unisys, this is your chance. Have a nice weekend.